Good afternoon, everyone. Hail across the southern hemisphere. New payment systems across the planet going to be forced down our throats. And what happens if volcanoes start erupting across California? Oh, and the arc storm about to hit right now as well. Let's dive into it. And a weather warning for you over on the west coast. This is going to stall this atmospheric river, and there's another one directly behind it. So this is the first wave of two. And this forecast here brings us into about the 23rd. You can see the vortice into that and how much moisture is going to be dragged into different areas across the west coast. And a look here at the bottom, coloration going to take you up to about 15 inches. That's so far with the forecast, and then the second storm is going to add another 10 to 12 inches on top of this. So it's going to be wet out there, and when this turns into snow in the higher elevations, this is going to turn into multiple feet of snow. Look at about 8 to 10 inches further north around Eureka as you come into sort of central, 4 to 6 inches. And as we get down toward San Francisco, 4 to 6. But then the higher elevations, again, these are going to be pelted with snow. So about the equivalent is 1 inch of rain equals 1 foot of snow. So if you got 6 inches of rain, you got 6 feet of snow. Speaking of that, hail everywhere across the southern hemisphere. This is in Australia. And the whole weather system has turned from what would be spring into a massive hail event. And this is coming down across the southern hemisphere. Can we expect this into our spring? This is South Africa right here. Everywhere you look, there's hail events going on all the continents in the southern hemisphere. As well as this nugget from the beginning of November, extreme hailstorm turns Saudi desert into winter wonderland. A few images have come across, a lot of screen grabs on this one from social media across the Middle East. And now we have a blizzard in Iran, incredibly early. And look at the ferocity of the snow and the wind. So something has definitely changed. And if this area of the world's becoming wetter, well, I guess there's going to be more fodder for the sheep popping in. Animal husbandry going to increase. So what is it with the change in the moisture patterns around our world right now? Hail always has to have stronger updrafts. And the amount of record floods we've seen over the last, say, 2 months is unprecedented. Years worth of rain in days, years worth of rain in a day. We've just seen it in so many places. The moisture patterns across the planet are disrupted. You might ask yourself why, what different factors are in play, and how you think that might amplify moving forward. Because if it does, we are going to have more crop losses and food prices are going to increase further. Then there'll have to be explanations as to why the food prices are increasing, and I bet they already have a dozen excuses waiting in line. If you're suffering from daily aches and pains, listen closely. Top medical experts have unveiled a natural pain reliever that is changing the way Americans fight pain. 100% drug-free Canalidine. Canalidine is the only solution in the world that optimizes your body's natural painkillers called endorphins, providing full body relief without dangerous pills or known side effects. Over 1 million Americans and hundreds of professional athletes, including UFC fighters, have already embraced Canalidine's pain relief power. Best of all, Canalidine is legal worldwide, certified drug-free, and does not cause side effects, grogginess, or addiction. After 14 years of clinical research, it's been proven safe and effective, backed by thousands of successful use cases from other Americans just like you. Best of all, today you can try Canalidine for less than $1 a day. Click on that link below to try the only Canalidine product in the world, 90 days risk-free. The only thing you have to lose is your pain. And now on with the video. Oh, imagine if we reestablish a new monetary system. Would that not shake the foundation of value of the fiat system around the planet? I bet it would, and that would explain away a lot of price increases until they smoothed it out, of course. Going to bring back to October 25th, just a couple weeks ago. BRICS 2024 in Kazan. They are now establishing an alternative international payment system to fiat systems around the world, including the US dollar. They want to get off SWIFT, have their own native system. De-dollarization is the catchphrase for 2024 and 2025 as well. Because wrapping up the meetings from Rio, here in the middle of November, G20 leaders vow to speed up reform for international financial system. And get this, first line right there, most important, accelerate the reform of the international financial architecture, meaning central bank digital currencies, and a full shift away from what we consider fiat into gold, silver, and platinum-backed system that also intertwines with mBridge and the new BRICS currencies. Wow. You think that would explain away rising food prices? Well, here's another one that's already lined up as an excuse. If you're looking over in the UK here, farmers now have to pay an inheritance tax. First time ever. Anything over $1 million, you have to pay 20%. But almost every farm, if you're, 100 acres over in England, you're looking at like 30, 40,000 per acre, and you're looking millions just in the land value. So everybody's over $1 million. All of them are going to get hit. So farmers have hoarded land for too long. Inheritance tax will bring new life into rural Britain. Prices and rents will fall under Rachel Reeves' plans, enabling a younger generation with new ideas to enter the field. And I was thinking, how are they going to enter the field if they're also going to have an inheritance tax? Then they're not going to want to enter the field, because why would you work your whole life just to get taxed at the end and have that removed from your fingers? But then Rachel Reeves says farmers must pay an inheritance tax to fund the National Health Service. Okay, I thought it was just about giving all the young people a chance to come out to the countryside and bring new life. And then we look further on, because of the UK budget deficits, the inheritance tax reform is going to free up farmland for renewable energy projects. There you go. 3 excuses right in a row why your food price might increase. And if we go into a currency reset, a lot of our infrastructure is going to stop, including transportation. And we may very well look something like this in the United States. Can you imagine Amtrak? Because no petrol is available and the only thing we can move is trains across the U.S. or in the U.K. or across the EU. Can you imagine the EU, a train system like this packed? Gets cold in the winter. I don't think that would work. But you can see the excuses are in play. Now, which one is it, UK? Is it to give the young people a new chance to start because the old people have all the land for multi-generations, or is it for renewables, or is it to fund another program? So you're already double-stepping on your own words there. This word salad isn't good for anybody. So how do you think the world is going to work? Now, here's the thing. On a economic collapse, everything will stop. And here's my big thing. Farm funding, agricultural funding. When that stops, how are these farmers going to buy their seed that they need for next year, the fuels, the repair parts for their vehicles, hire the laborers that are out there? They're going to need the chemicals as well if they're still on the what you consider agribiz side of things. On large agribiz, you don't pay cash for that. And if the system locks up, we will not be able to grow food for a whole year. And taking away farmlands from those who could probably do it, they wouldn't have the highest yields, but they could get by and get something. There would be drastic declines, but there would be something. No farm funding means nothing. You know, something's better than nothing. And at the rate we're going here, you can see why the food prices are poised to increase 30% more across the planet here very shortly. And a little volcanism here for you. This is Iceland. Wow, a lot of rip and tear throughs there, aren't there? And Fuego doing its thing again. Electric discharge straight out of the cone. Electric universe. Now, why would I bring up the West Coast volcanoes? Let's look at California exclusively here. Holocene eruptions mean this warm period of the last 10,000 years. Mono, Shasta, Medicine Lake, and you can see those first two up there. 23 eruptions over 10,000 years. Okay, you can do some averages on that. 1350 was the last eruption, and you already did 23 before that. And diving into their research a little bit more, VEI4 mono. Can you imagine if a VEI4 went off right in or near San Francisco? volcanic fields. 1085, that means multiple times through the last 10,000 years, we are definitely overdue, and during very, very low solar activity periods, Cascadia goes off. Again, a disruptor for agriculture and a disruptor for economy. Can you imagine West Coast volcanoes going off? American economy is going to take a large hit, and our food production. And you can see there's so many different variables that could disrupt our food production on the planet. I'm only looking at 2 locations. Now, there's dozens of others going on. This southern hemisphere hail phenomenon is also something to look at. Now, it looks like southern hemisphere is preceding northern hemisphere, at least in this cycle, first. Before us, so we're seeing some of the effects, and I'm wondering, since the Hungatonga eruption was down there, if that's really the cause of a lot of nucleation, updrafts, etc. But once they really plant and get the crops growing in the fields, and if it's going to be more hailstorms than regular rain, then they're going to have a difficult time also, and there's going to be vast crop losses. So we're definitely into this period now. Makes sense why the agri-economists and those at the World Bank and, the BRICS nations are all talking about massive food price increases to get ready. What do they know that they're not telling us is the question. But while you're thinking about getting prepared, freeze-dried beef, steak, not crumbles. Adapt2030beef.com. That link's in the description box below. Use Clean Cows for 15% off. And every Thursday night, 10 p.m. to midnight, Ransom and I are going live, bringing it more into the studio version. Join us on Rumble and X. Be part of the conversation. I do appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of the video. See you next time. Bye for now.